So, I'm originally from Portugal and not very far away from the capital, Lisbon. We have this beautiful place called Nazaré where we have 100-foot waves. And you may be wondering, what does it have to do with AI? What is happening in the business world at the moment? For me, this is the best metaphor. It's not in the future, it's now in the present. We are facing a 100-foot wave. And if we have a business, small, big, one person as a speaker, whatever size of business, we are somewhere on the shore. And we are being affected by this 100-foot wave. That is a reality. And what I see in the business world is you have people that are still trying very hard to ignore AI. Almost put their head in the sand. Oh, this is not going to affect me. And in the other extreme of the continuum, you have the ones that are trying to learn every little thing, all the little prompts. They have a prompt library. They are wanting to know the last little tool. They subscribe to so many lists, but they are going and going and going and getting burnout by it. Because the reality is, if you are more close to the ignoring side, if you are ignoring 100-foot waves, you can be crushed by it. If you are trying to control the energy of 100-foot wave, you are going to be burned out by it. And maybe you are somewhere in the middle. If I had more time, I would love to put you in a line and you identify where you are in this continuum. And you may be wondering, so where should I be? And I will argue and propose here that there is another way of approaching this, because 100-foot waves can be surfed with a very important caveat. Surfing big waves is not a one-person sport. It's a team sport. If you notice here in the image, you have a person in the surfboard there, tiny little one there. But in order for them to be there, they have a jet ski team that takes them to the right point in the ocean. They have people here in the lighthouse that are spotting the right waves to be surfed. And the emergency team, just in case that things don't go too well. So surfing is, these big waves is a team sport. And the thing here is that, do we want to be part of this team to surf the 100-foot AI wave? Because there is a ton of potential. The cat is out of the bag. That is the reality. We cannot say, okay, let's stop to use AI. Too much things are already happening. This is here to stay. If we don't do anything, we are going to be burned out by this. If we work together as a team in our business and in our communities, we can leverage this energy and really harness the power of all these technological advancements to build a better future. But we have to be intentional. And in order to do that, I argue that we have to do at least 3 mindset shifts. And that is what I'm going to be speaking about here today. So the first mindset shift that we have to do is the way that we relate with technology. Because usually when we think about technology is humanity versus technology, man against machine. Think about the movies. And when we think about technology, we are thinking about a computer, a phone, high-tech and digital technology. But technology is much more than that. That is a very narrow way of seeing technology. If we broaden our perspective and we go back to the word technology, and the root, in the Greek root of the word, is really a systemic treatment of an art, craft, of technique. So it's application of knowledge to a practical purpose. That is what technology is. And from this broader lens to see technology, we can argue that from the beginning of humanity, technology was there. Could human beings have developed without being able to control fire and create fire at will? That can be argued that is a way of technology. Could we have become going from gatherers and hunters to agriculture and other developments if we didn't manage to do tools out of stones? That is technology. And if you doubt it, I challenge you, go to your backyard, pick 2 stones, bang them against each other, and tell me the results. You will realize that there's a lot of craft in creating stone tools that are able to pierce or to cut. So from this perspective, technology is with humans from the beginning. We cannot be humans without technology, and we are the ones creating technology. Just let's go 12,000 years ago. This was when the first agricultural revolution happened. Think about all the technological developments that happened for that to be possible. And they changed the way we live. Then let's go to 5,000 years ago, when the first writing systems emerged. Think all the technology related with it, to write on stone or to write in a papyrus. The papyrus itself doesn't show up. We have to have techniques to develop the paper, the papyrus in that case. So all of that was technological advancements that changed the way we live. Without that, we will not have philosophy. We will not have science. Then just jumping to 500 years ago, printing press. How many revolutions that create being able to print books? Let's jump to the 20th century. Took us the first half of the century to create a computer that occupied the space of a room. Then in the second half, we managed to shrink it to be able to take it home, as in the personal computers. We have to wait until 93 to have the World Wide Web. That just became a thing in the 2000s. Then in the 2000s, we start with the social media. 2003 was LinkedIn. Then 4, Facebook. Then 2006, we have Twitter. Then we were starting to use social media. But then was in 2007 with the iPhone and all the other smartphones that allow us to have the social media on our hands, that it became a thing that changed the way we live and the way that we behave. And then in November 30, 2022, we have the open to the public of ChatGPT. And the world changed again. Much quicker, because we already had everything that was needed to leverage its technology. Most of us will have a computer and a phone and internet connections. That was the conditions necessary to leverage this. And today, after this talk, we are going to see use cases of how we can use this in our day-to-day and how that really can change our lives in many meaningful ways, and if we are intentional, for the better. So, but the very important point to make is that artificial intelligence was already here. That is not something new. Since we start with the computers in the 1940s, 1950s, they start to speak about machine learning and about artificial intelligence. And in fact, if you are using things like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and any of the social media, you are already using artificial intelligence, but you are not aware of it. or if you add things in your phone like face recognition or speak with Alexa or Siri or the Roomba cleaning up the house, all of that was part of machine learning that started in the 1950s. So AI was already here, but what happened is with this new generation of AI that we call the generative AI based on the large language models, or LLM, things start to change and we start to have these tools like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini that allow us to communicate in a more direct way with this technology and then changing our perception of it. And now everybody's speaking about AI. So how can we leverage this? The first mindset shift, we really have to think about humanity and technology. It's not us versus them. It's us together. And I will ask you to consider instead to see these artificial intelligence versus human intelligence. We were the humans that create the technology. We really can see this as co-intelligence. And part of our mindset shift about our relationship with technology and see this as a collaboration is increasing what we call the AI literacy, knowing a little bit about this, the context where these things emerge and the limits and the potential of it. And the great book that I advise that is very easy to read is this one of Co-Intelligence, Living and Working with AI. And in this book, he speaks about 4 rules for leveraging this co-intelligence. And I will have some material after the talk. If you sign, I will have a QR code that you can get the slides afterwards and some resources around this. And I will build a specific resource about these 4 rules that is a lot about always, okay, let's bring AI to the table. Keep being the human on the loop. Treat AI as a person, like I think we are going to see in the workshop that is going to follow my talk today. And assume this is the worst AI you will ever use. Because it's the reality. Things are changing very fast. And it's part of the challenge that takes us to the next mindset shift. Because in the business world, the technology was always do more with less. Let's face it. That, a new technological development. Let's be able to do much more production with less people and increase the profits. That is what the magic of technology for most of the businesses. And it's part of the reality. And it's why people are speaking about from the break room to the boardroom. Is this going to take our jobs? Are these going to increase disengagement? Are we going to increase the burnout? All these are valid questions to have regarding to the artificial intelligence developments. And I like to say that this revolution in technology is like now all of us, or most of us, have access to a very powerful car. So please, 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 let's be very clear where we want to go. Otherwise, are we going to end very far away in a place that we don't want to be? That is the reality. And together as a team, remember this is a surfing team together, let's orient the direction of this. Because otherwise we are going to increase burnout even more than it is. So my big thing is let's use AI to do better rather than just more. Yes, can increase our productivity, absolutely. But if we just, things that took us 10 hours, now we do 1 hour, so we have 9 hours free. If it's just to put more busy work on the table, that is not going to create a better future. Not for us and not people that work with us. So, small exercise here. Pick your phone, because I bet that is in arm reach. go to Google or any web surfer you use and type why am I and tell me what is the first result in the Google search. Why am I so tired? That means that is the more common query. Why am I so tired? I have to say, this was already true before 2022. I've been working on burnout for a while, and this was already a reality, and is not getting better. And speaking about burnout, usually if we are, as it's so common to hear AI everywhere, if you tune your ear to burnout, you are going to hear that word a lot too. I'm feeling burnout, I'm tired, everybody's complaining about burnout. But from a psychological perspective, burnout is more than being tired, okay? So there is this dimension of I'm exhausted. It's the energy, I'm totally tired. I start the day already tired. Or I finish the day and I don't have energy to do anything. So there is this exhaustion of this energy dimension that in the burnout is characterized by being exhausted. But what is in the other side of this extreme? If the lower part of this line is exhaustion, what will be the opposite of it? Excited, energized. So there is this dimension of exhaustion to energize. And in the burnout, there is at least another dimension that we have to take into consideration that I call the connection dimension. Because people that are really in full burnout, they are disconnected from their mission and their purpose. Think about the teacher or the nurse that leave the profession because they don't find meaning on it anymore. So in the other side, we can put on purpose. And then if we bring the two things together, we have the beautiful of 4 quadrants that allow us to organize the information. And when we can see is that burnout is people that are exhausted and disconnected most of the time. And where we want to be and bring our team, our surfing team with us, is to the engaged quadrant. That is where people are connected with a purpose, with a mission, and are energized. But we still have 2 other zones there left. So we want to avoid this at all costs. It takes a lot of time to really recover from burnout. We want to spend most of our time in the engage, but we have to be careful with the other 2 zones, because here is where most of you probably are. Overextended. You are tired, but because you are connected with your purpose, you keep going and going and going. But you are just 1 step away from burnout. And then you become the frog on the pot of boiling water. Oh, this is part of the job. I just have to keep pushing a little bit more. It's just a question of time. The water will be boiling and you will be in the burnout zone. But then we have another area here that is the disengaged. And if you have a team, you know that some people that are in the disengaged, they still have energy left. But why bother? They do their job description, but they don't go the extra mile. So how can we bring them all more to the engaged zone, to spend us and our teams to the engaged zone? Because here is where we can make the impact without burnout. If we are in the overextended zone, and we have tools to measure this in teams, but if we are here in the overextended zone, that is with AI, we can follow that if we want to catch every little detail of it. We are not in the zone where we can make the full potential and impact that we can have in the world. Okay? So, with that said, let's try to use these tools and these technological advancements to create more impact, but being very aware of this burnout, because if we are not intentional, we are going to create conditions that are not very good for the future of work. So the second mindset shift that I propose is stop seeing things are more, but how can we create more impact to a better future? So, and in order to do that, we really have to go to the third mindset shift. And I know that some of you probably are already familiar with this exercise, but do it anyhow because it's still powerful even when you know it. So, please, in a piece of paper, write all caps the word reactive. So REACTIVE. You have it? Wonderful. Now, please focus on the letter C. Between the A and the T, you have the C. Cross it out and bring it to the beginning of the word. Which word do you have now? Creative. So small shift, big difference. This is what we are trying to create, these leverage points that a small shift creates a big difference. Thinking not technology versus humanity, not human intelligence versus artificial intelligence, but co-intelligence. It's a small shift that can change everything in the way that we relate and our feelings and openness to learn more about it. And we are going to be learning much more about it soon, here, today. Think about the more by less paradigm to better. Use AI to do better rather than just more. It's a small shift that can make a huge difference for our future. And for making that happen, we have to be more time in a creative, proactive mode and less time in a reactive mode. Because if we are just reacting to the AI and the artificial intelligence, we are going to get burnout. So let's be really get our power here. And this brings me to my favorite quote of all time, that is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is the power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. But when things are accelerating so fast, it's so difficult to see that space that allows us to pause and choose our response. And we have to be aware of it. And we have to create this space if we want to be intentional in how we lead with this. Because the reality, remember 12,000 years ago to today, biologically, we are essentially the same. But everything else changed because culturally we have changed with advances in technology. But even now, culture, we are stretching it very thin because things are changing so fast that it's difficult for technology to keep the pace. But we have these things that we can call the modus operandi, how we function and how we see the world and function in the world, that we can develop much faster and really allow us to be in top shape to be part of this AI team and surfing this wave. Does this make sense? So spending time in personal development, I think, is essential in this. Was always important, but now becomes essential even more, because the best way to really tap in the full potential of AI is starting by tapping into our human potential first. Otherwise, we are in the reactive mode. The only way to be in the proactive mode is by tapping into our human potential through self-development, to all the high-performance science that we know. We have so much knowledge that we can apply And then from their proactive stage, we can decide what is the best course of action and how to use the AI. We humans are the key here. We still have the power. Until machines starting to buy instead of us, we still have the power in the business world. So let's use it. So I have several resources that I provide, and if you sign up, you also will get all the slides from this presentation. I will ask you just to scan this QR code, or there is also the option of going to, but I think if you, all of you can scan is talk@ac/ANA, or just scan will take you directly. It's a short survey, and by the way, most of you are speakers here. Talkadot is an amazing tool for a speaker. They have a free account, they have a pay account, but it's an amazing tool that allows us to increase our mailing list. The previous speaker spoke about the importance of it here, and also to deliver materials and more resources to our audiences and create leads that can lead to future gigs, speaking gigs, okay? So I will give you a moment. You will be taking a series of questions that are very easy to answer, and then depending of your answers, for instance, if somebody reply there and say, yes, I organize events, there is a specific series of questions after that if you answer, no, I don't organize events, you don't have, but it's allow me afterwards to see who are the people that I can connect with for my speaking business development tool. And create some opportunities to get quotes about my talk that then I can leverage in social media too. So I appreciate the input that you can give about this presentation that I'm always trying to improve. And when you are done, you can put the phone down. That way I have like an indication that we can go to the ending of our talk here to give us the space and the time to transition to the workshop that is all going to be about ChatGPT and use cases of how you can start using this straight away. So really leverage that. With that said, you also can always connect with me at anna@annamelikian.com, and will be in the last slide again this. But let's just please keep in mind the AI disruption is 100-foot wave. It's going to affect us all. All of us are going to be affected by it. If you are ignoring it, or if you have people in your team ignoring it, you risk being crushed by it. If you are trying to control it, you are going to be burned out by it. So consider this possibility of being part of the surfing team. And let's build a better future. And let's start with these 3 mindset shifts. See these as co-intelligence. Now we can do this together. Consider using AI to do better rather than just more. And tap into your human potential first. We humans are the key here. So thank you so much for your time today, and let's keep building a better future.